Hi, Rod Menzel with Great Way Roofing at 609 Science Drive with Josh Marks. We're taking a quick look at the roof for blue marble development, and generally speaking it's a large roof with a cap sheet roof system with multiple skylights. This is predominantly warehouse area back here, and then we got towards the front we've got the more office area, and you can see a lot of this area is mechanically cooled with the HVAC units, and you can take a look through here. What I'd like to do is just talk about a few different roof systems that we could recommend for it, maybe a phased in approach for the roof, and also some key problem areas that really need to be addressed, or else you're going to continue to find yourself with or facing yourself with roof leaks. Here's an area where Great Way Roofing has attempted to catch some leaks. The challenge with catching a roof leak is there's multiple spots in which the leak can come from. It can come from here, it can come from here where you can see where we put the material down. It can even come in an open field area like you see what we did over here. Here's a recent repair that we did over here. There was a leak at the drain, and we did this whole section because we found that water was actually traveling. So we did a complete gigantic section all the way down to where the drain was leaking at right there. Now what's interesting about this is, even though we've done that part of the repair, you could end up with a leak over here. This area here slopes down towards that area. So if this were to leak at this bolt, or at this bolt, or at this HVAC unit right here, the water would naturally run down towards the drain because that's the way it slopes, and you'd end up with a roof leak. Now I'd like to talk about roof systems. One roof system that might make sense is the fluid applied acrylic roof system. It's a roof system that we've done all over the place. In fact, here in Moorpark, our largest building was for Cavlico, building about the size of this. What I'd recommend is this though. If you don't want to do the complete re-roof right now, I would consider a phased in approach. The minimum phased in approach that I would probably consider will be starting right about here, as you can see, and work all the way down towards that wall and up and including that wall, all the way down to here. By doing that, you basically don't have any other equipment in the way. It's always possible it could be coming from somewhere else, but likely not to be the case. So if we worked all these units, all these posts, and came up with a better solution than what we're seeing right here, we'd be in pretty good shape. The second solution, the second part of it would be then to just go ahead and continue this all the way out to here, encapsulate the whole inside of this area, and get to the other side of these posts over here. So that could be phase 1 and 2 combined. You could call it phase 1 and just come to here. The final phase of the roof, or another phase of the roof, pardon me, would be just to come out here and start working this area. You could do this as an option. You could work the walls that you could see all the way along the perimeter. You could do this, the skylights, and then you could come in later and do the rest of the roof. This rest of the roof right here is in pretty good shape, and you probably got several more years out of it. However, this area right here I believe is on its last leg, and the only way to really take care of it permanently would be to address a number of the concerns that I've already discussed and start a re-roof process where you've got a complete covering over the entire roof system. Quick recap. We want to give you a phased in approach for doing the roof in a couple different sections. That front section up there, out about 30 feet or so, 33 feet, and then adding all the way past this last wall here. At that point also, we'd like to recommend maybe demoing out. I think if we could get away with it and the city would allow it, I think that's the best approach, because the labor savings on installing the roof is about the same additional labor to demo it. So I think you'd almost end up with a wash. We're going to provide an estimate to demo that and see if we can get it pushed through the city. Lastly, we're just at a point, I think, with this roof that if you don't do something about it, you're going to continue to spend money on things that might not necessarily work. I'd hate to come out here and do a good 2-day repair and have it still not be able to perform. Repairs are exactly that, or patches. They're here to get you by and with no guarantee if it's going to work or not. So we like the idea of quite possibly coming in here and actually re-roofing a section. If you could get all the way to this ridge line right here, for example, you would know for sure that all the water sloping this way is under warranty. We wouldn't have any problem whatsoever. So there's a lot of different options we can provide for you, and I think you'd end up with a roof that's under warranty with no issues, and if you do have issues, once again, you got somebody to call to fix for you at no cost. Thanks again, and hopefully we can answer any additional questions for you in the future. Bye. So Josh and I are talking, and the biggest concern that we have is this equipment screen and the way the bolts penetrate. Some bolts don't go all the way down, as you can see here. The bolt doesn't go all the way through it. And some bolts almost go all the way through, and then many bolts go all the way down, as you can see down to some of these other ones. Our question is this: This equipment screen is for aesthetic purposes. We notice how high the wall is on the other side over there. It goes up above the rooftop equipment. I think it'd be worth at least looking into maybe removing this equipment screen as much as you possibly can. Maybe from that point down there where it makes its angle, all the way down to here where it makes its turn as well here. If you could get that approval through the city, it'd be highly recommended, because it'd do a couple things. Number one, it'd make doing the roof a little bit easier, which would save you some money. Number two, it would solve a lot of your problems. That's one thought. If that thought's not an option, we'd recommend maybe bringing somebody else in here. We can explore it a little bit as well, but maybe a contractor, and find out why these bolts don't go all the way down. We could screw them down and see. Maybe they just got so tight that they couldn't go down any further. Maybe as time's gone on, they've loosened up. But if we can get all the bolts to go all the way down, we can make a coping metal cap similar to this cap that you see here. And we could actually cap from there to there, just about 1.5 feet, and then cap out here about 12 inches. Our only concern with them would be underneath this post. As you can see right there, there's a gap down there below. And we would want to make sure that we could get underneath that gap. So we may have to lift it up and seal around that, knowing full well that that is now taken care of. So here's another view, just so see if we can show this to the city, see if this will help us out. Basically, that equipment screen is covering these units, but this wall is high enough, and the units basically don't go up to past this. There's nothing visible that anybody can see out there. You can see units on that building, and you can see units from the freeway over here regardless, because the freeway's up higher. So we're wondering if that's an option. If we could just have this removed. If we could have this removed, I'll tell you, it'd be a very wise idea. So one last note, if it is possible to demo this equipment screen, we'd recommend, here's the angle, we'd actually demo right to here. There's a seam right here, so we'd be able to demo. This looks like this is its own freestanding, because it's got the corner post going both directions. And as you can see down there, that one right there, that long one. And that would basically remove that whole equipment screen all the way down and do the same thing on the angle down that way as well. So it's not quite to this corner, so this corner would still come around, but might be a very good idea.